Volvo knows it needs more SUVs. It seeks a more youthful audience, and it has to have more electric models. This C40 Recharge delivers all three in one package and shows clearly the direction the brand is heading in the future. There's a base front-driven model and a state-of-the-art fully electric all-wheel drive powertrain that offers a WLTP rated range of 274 miles on a single charge and an output of 408 horsepower. The drawback either way is premium pricing, but otherwise a lot of boxes seem to have been ticked here.
Customers choose between two flavours of C40, either the base front-driven Recharge version, which uses a 69 kilowatt-hour battery powering a 231 horsepower electric motor and offers a 269-mile range, or the all-wheel drive Recharge twin version we're trying here, which uses a larger 78 kilowatt-hour battery pack powering a motor on each axle, delivering a 408 horsepower output and a 274-mile driving range. The front-driven version will be quite sufficient for most, but the 660 newton meters of this top twin version is quite amusing to have beneath your right foot, if rather irrelevant for a car of this kind. To get the claimed mileage, you'll need to engage what the Swedish maker calls one-pedal drive, selectable from the driving menu provided on this centre dash screen. This dramatically increases the regenerative braking effect when you come off the throttle to the point where, as advertised, the brake pedal will hardly ever be used. You're not going to be tempted often to hurl your C40 about, partly because of its prodigious curb weight, over 2.1 tonnes in this twin model, and partly because of the rather overlight steering that even a firm mode option can't do much about. Still, that won't bother most likely customers who'll be more interested in the way that progress at speed, even over really poor surfaces, is remarkably assured. Lower frequency potholes and speed humps, though, can catch the damping out a bit. At a cruise, you might note that there's a bit more tyre roar than is usual in an EV, but compensation comes in the form of Volvo's Pilot Assist driver assistance system for steering, acceleration and braking support, there to help take the strain during long motorway journeys or when sitting in traffic. The latest version of this setup now uses Google Maps for information like speed limits and bends in the road to improve its functionality. As for charging, well, the C40 is able to charge at up to 150 kilowatts, and a 10 to 80% battery replenishment can take just 37 minutes using a public DC fast charger. A full charge using the onboard AC charger plugged into your 32 amp garage wall box will take 12 hours. Sometimes it's refreshing to upset an ordered plan. Volvo's route to full electrification was supposed to be based on full electric versions of the XC40 combustion models, paving the way to the all-new SPA2 platform EVs that will complete the company's switch to a full battery range by 2030. But then one day, a young stylist in T. John Mayer's exterior design team, Yuri Zamkovenka, spontaneously jotted down a sketch of a shape that might widen the XC40 pure electric model's appeal. And the C40 Recharge was born. Obviously, the major way this car differs from the XC40 is with its roofline, which here slopes 69mm lower. Total length is 6mm shorter than that car too, but the width and wheelbase dimensions are identical. T. John Mayer says his favourite view of this car is this, what he calls the rear 7/8 perspective, which best shows the chunky swept-back silhouette with its contrast roof. The front-end finishing, with its unnecessary closed grille, is arguably less successful, with a level of indecision evident between combustion and EV schools of design. Future Volvo EVs will have more overtaking presence than this, but there are still some nice touches, like the angled lower bumper corner sections with their integrated black fog lamp panels, and the way the brand's familiar Thor's hammer headlights are augmented with little pixel LEDs which automatically adjust to light conditions and switch on and off independently to optimise the illuminating pattern. The segmented vertical rear LED lamps are equally emblematic, providing a testament to the engineering challenge of extending one big lamp along the roofline edging, managed here, while also creating a modern take on a familiar design. There are two spoilers, a subtle lower one, and a larger protuberance on top of the rear screen with rather interesting squared-off corner segments. Right, what about the interior? Has Volvo also made this car's cabin feel younger and different? Well, not really. The cabin design has carried over without much revision from the XC40, which inevitably means that on a car potentially costing well over 50% more than the entry-level combustion version of one of those, there are trim elements that feel somewhat out of place at this price point. Volvo has done its best to lift things, notably with the striated plastic trimming panels you get with top-level trim, which illuminate translucently at night. The decor that surrounds you is vegan-based and sustainably sourced wherever possible, notably in terms of the upholstery and the carpeting. What wasn't sustainable for a modern-day EV Volvo was the brand's old Sensus infotainment system for the 9-inch centre console portrait touchscreen. So that's been replaced with this much improved Android infotainment setup, which includes worldwide navigation to Google Maps, advanced voice recognition by Google Assistant, and access to the Google Play Store for a range of in-car apps. The other screen you'll be using is the 12.3-inch progressive driver display. You view through this pleasingly chunky 3-spoke wheel. You view a speed meter on the left and an EV drive meter on the right. What else? Well, over-the-shoulder vision is slightly restricted, but that's alleviated by a rear camera and all-round sensors. As for cabin practicality, well, there are plenty of stowage receptacles, plus some nice touches like this lift-out centre bin and a hook that folds out of the glove box for handbags or takeaways. Time to take a look in the rear. Actually, it's not too bad once you're in, though taller folk will inevitably find their heads brushing the ceiling. Ah yes, the ceiling. As mentioned earlier, it's mainly glass, which is just as well, because otherwise this rear part of the cabin really would feel dark and pokey thanks to that huge D-pillar blind spot we mentioned. This seat bench back here unfortunately doesn't slide, nor does its backrest recline, but the rear headrests are well placed and comfortable, and if you avoid base trim, the upholstery is also heated. There's also a central armrest incorporating a pair of cup holders, plus beverages can also sit in the provided moulded recesses. We mentioned the underfloor battery pack. Well, Volvo's positioned it so that boot space isn't too compromised. And this standard powered tailgate, which can operate with a kick action, if you avoid entry-level trim, rises to reveal 413 litres of it. That's 39 litres less than you get in a comparable XC40 pure electric, but 49 litres more than you get from a comparable and near identically engineered Polestar 2. If you need more room, then a ski hatch is provided for longer items, which is some compensation for the fact that you can't have the useful 40-20-40 rear seatback split that some rivals offer. Fold the rear bench forward and up to 853 litres of total capacity is revealed, or up to 1,205 litres if you load to the roof. You might have noticed the absence of charging leads back here. That's because they're stored elsewhere in the car. Let's show you. Because no engine is needed beneath the clamshell bonnet, Volvo has used the space to create a frunk, a 31-litre space that's perfect for the two provided charge leads. It can't really accommodate much else, though. It's worth pointing out that one of these standard charge leads is for a 3-pin plug, and some rivals charge you extra for that. And that the 3-pin one is usefully long, 7 metres in fact, Volvo realising that it might need to be to reach a domestic socket. This model, in the company's own words, is the future of Volvo. Over 75% of the cars the company sells these days are SUVs. And in future, 100% of them will be EVs. But overall, our preference in this category would be for a Polestar 2, which probably wouldn't upset Volvo very much. But The C40 undeniably offers something a little different, not only from that car, but also in the segment as a whole. And for that, we like it. And you might too.